Hello friends, welcome you all to another video, and today we are going to talk about paper number 5, unit number 3, chapter number 1, that is the nature of literary criticism. The title of unit 3 is nature and function of literary criticism, and the first chapter deals with the nature of literary criticism. So we are going to talk on it. So first we are going to understand that what is criticism, and then we are going to understand that what is literary criticism and how it has a nature, how it functions. So the functions we are going to see in the next chapter, but let's start with the nature of literary criticism. So you know that the word criticism has been derived from the Greek word which means judgment. A critic is a person who expresses opinions about the good and bad qualities of a book or the works of literature or poetry or the art of an artist or a painter, anything. It can be anything. So, what is the duty of a critic? The duty of a critic is to express his opinion whether this art, okay, the work of art, whether it is a literature or whatever, and whether it is a different genres of literature, so whether it is a bad or good, is it excellence or is it worse, so it is his duty to express that opinion, and his duty is to give the grades or the stars. And as you know that the criticism, it is a Greek word and which means judgment. Okay, so it is a judgment. So literary criticism is nothing but literary criticism is a judgment of literary work of art. It is very simple. In a very simple word, we can say that literary criticism is the judgment of literary work of art, where the critic come and he read that work of art and he just put his opinion, his verdict, whether it is a good or it is a bad, whether you should read it, whether you should not read it, and if you read it, then why you should read it, and if you didn't read it or if you don't read it, so why you don't read it. So he gives you the causes or reasons, and in this way it is his duty. Okay, so it can be said that criticism is the play of the mind. Okay, criticism actually it is the play of mind to observe the merits and the defects in the work of literature. Okay, let me explain again what actually he is saying. The word criticism has been derived from the Greek. Okay, I'm just repeating that. You can say that the criticism is the play of the mind. So, in which what happened? The mind observes the merits and the defects in the work of literature. Whether this literary work of art has a merits, or whether there are excellences, or whether it has a good thing or bad thing. Okay, or whether there are some defects in the work of literature. So there was one critic whose name is Victor Hugo, and this Victor Hugo points out that is the work good or bad is the critic's domain. Okay, so what is the domain of critic? To find out whether the work is good or bad. That is the only domain, that is the only work, that is the only job of a critic. So thus, the objective of literary criticism is to determine the artistic values, poetic beauty, or the features being regarded as inadequate existing in the works of literature that in turn may help the writer or poet to improve the skills, and ultimately the literary works could in this way attract and delight the readers. So actually that is the thing which he wants. He just say that. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, so what is the objectiveness of criticism? So in the objectiveness of criticism, the critics just try to determine the artistic values, poetic beauty in poetry, or the features being regarded as inadequate existing in the works of literature, and then that may be turned to help the writer or poet to improve the skills. And in this way, ultimately, the literary work would, in that process, attract and delight the readers. If there is no critic, and if they will not criticize, if they will not find out the excellences and defects in the literature, the poet will not rework on it, they will not think on it, and in this way, literature will collapse, they will lose their quality. So that is the important and main functions of literary work of art. So while discussing literary criticism, it is important and interesting to know the qualities of a critic in a brief. To begin with, first and foremost, a critic must have a sound common sense and clear thinking in order to judge or evaluate the works of literature in an efficient way. So that is very important thing. So what is the qualities of literary criticism? The first quality of a critic, that he should be brief. He should begin with the first and foremost, a critic must have a sound common sense and he must have a clear thinking in order to judge or evaluate the work of literature in an efficient way. If he doesn't have the common sense, if he doesn't have a clear thinking, so he will not judge or evaluate the work of literature in an efficient way. So the efficiency is important, and for the efficiency, it should have a clear thinking in critic's mind. He must have a common sense. So he is a well-read person. He must have read a lot of literature. If I have not read a lot of literature, how I am going to analyze or how I am going to judge a literary work of art? If I have not read any things, so I do not have any authority, I do not have any right to analyze or to say that this literary work is good or bad. But if I have read a lot of literature, if I have read a lot of books, a lot of poetry, a lot of things, not only my language but also the other languages too, other languages literature too. Suppose my mother tongue is Marathi, and if I'm reading Marathi literature, but I also read the English literature, I also read the Hindi literature, or I also read some other literature, the language which I know. So what will happen in this way? I will enhance my knowledge on literature. I will enhance my knowledge about humanity, about the human nature. And when I will read as a critic someone new person's poetry, then I will judge that poetry in a very greater way or in a efficient way. So the second quality a critic should, that he should be a well-read person to exercise a judgment on literary work in a way it should be. He must know the fact that to understand the works of literature, he needs to put himself in the place of a writer. Okay, I should not think that this light I'm a critic and I'm reading that writer's poetry, and if I do have some prejudices against that writer, so maybe my analysis, my judgment on his literary work of art will not good. So it will be the that okay, there may be some malice, there may be some prejudices in that thing. So therefore he must know the fact to understand the work of literature. Okay, and therefore he needs to put himself in the place of the writer so that he can appraise the works from the viewpoint of writer as well. So then and then only he can understood that what is the intention of the writing that literary work of art. Then and then he will understand the beauty of that literary work of art. Then and then he is going to understand the meaning of that literary work of art. Then and then he can understand the point of view of writer. Then and then only he can understand the message which was indicated purposefully by the writer in his literary work of art. And then and then he can understood that which is the audience, who is the addressee of that literary work of art. Okay, so that should be the character that is of the that quality of a critic. So in this way we can understand the nature of literary criticism. So in order that the excellence or shortcomings may be examined properly, He does not perform opinion, but interprets literary values on the basis of his knowledge and experiences. Okay, so if you want to do that he wanted to find out the excellence, and if you want to find out the shortcomings of that literary work of art, so he must examine that literary work of art properly. Okay, he must examine it properly. So he does not perform opinion only, but he should interpret literary values on the basis of his knowledge. He must interpret the literary values on the basis of his knowledge and experience, and without an aggressive and unreasonable belief, or without any prejudice. And finally, a sound knowledge of human life and nature is a plus point to a critic to pass judgment on literary work accordingly. So guys, here I should stop here. And if you and again there are so many things to be discussed about the nature of literary criticism. So if you have any kind of problems, any kind of issues, you can ask me in the comment section. And from tomorrow there is a Diwali vacation, so I express very happy Diwali to all of you, and we will resume our online lectures from 19th November 2020. So until then, enjoy. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to fill the attendance form. Let's meet after the Diwali vacation.